Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking about the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. That's right, I'm going to be covering WWE SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and for the first time in a long time, I apologize for that, AEW Collision. So, definitely going to be a mixed bag of a show. But I hope you all enjoy. As we start off with WWE SmackDown, we go right into a Cody Rhodes promo, which Cody Rhodes getting some TV time. I like that. He calls out Kevin Owens. He doesn't even ask the crowd what he wants to talk about. So, that's interesting. So that tells me he's taking this serious. So then he's like, Kevin Owens, you've crossed quite the line here. Please come out here now. No Kevin Owens music. No, he doesn't come out. Gets back on. Kevin Owens, get out here right now. He's yelling. He's demanding. Kevin Owens comes out. But who walks out instead? It's General Manager Nick Aldis. So this one's going to be interesting. Gets in the ring, grabs a microphone, and says, I need you to calm down, Cody. This is a very different situation than you're used to. Owens used the pile driver on Randy Orton. And I don't want this generation in 20 years to be confined to wheelchairs. Nick Aldis continues, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Kevin Owens did cross the line, but until we can figure this out at the top, I can't have him here. Cody Rhodes then replies, you're really making a martyr out of Kevin Owens. You need to let me handle this. Kevin Owens is a jackass. And before he can continue, Nick Aldis interrupts him. Says, I'm going to stop you right there. You think this is about money? If you give people like Kevin Owens an inch, they'll take a mile. He cannot be here until we figure this out internally. Then Cody Rhodes kind of gets right into the ear of Nick Aldis, picks up the mic and says, be real. You'll have to be objectively. You're a wrestler, for God's sake. Imagine you were in his position. Owens is telling everyone it's because of me. And Orton was there celebrating with me at WrestleMania 40. And I'll cherish that forever. And if I can't handle this here, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my hands on him. Do you want me to go catch him in his home and beat him down there? The ball is in your court, Mr. Aldis, but I won't be waiting long. Oh, Cody Rhodes is pissed off, and I'm going to say this. As much as I don't like it that it's Kevin Owens again, the dynamic here feels different. I kind of like it. You got the dangerous, sadistic Kevin Owens, who kind of is right that, with Cody and Orton teaming with, Roman Reigns, who has been their enemy for a while, it would set me off, too, if someone like that did that to me. So, but Cody Rhodes taking this serious now? I'm in on it. Let's do this. So then we see Jimmy Uso. He's walking in the back. Runs into Jay and Sammy. He's saying, Roman is on his way. He wanted us to meet him here so we can go over the playbook. They're still going on. We need a fifth member. We need a fifth guy. Sami Zayn then says, alright, I think I know somebody. And he runs off screen. We'll get back to them a little later. But this... like I said, I like seeing the Bloodline trying to reach out to other parties to try and recruit them. Especially after what they did to them for the last 4 years. It's interesting. Speaking of interesting, we got our first round matchup for the United States Women's title. And it is a triple threat match featuring Bayley, Candice LeRae, and for the first time in a while I've seen her wrestle, B-Fab, who has been managing the Street Profits. And this match was really entertaining, and it's clear B-Fab has been working, been training in her downtime, which is great. Is she perfect? No, but she's getting there. A lot of really good back and forth between all three of them, with eventually Bayley winning with the roll-up, which it did look like she did whiff on a rose plant, so then the momentum kind of took her into a roll-up. So I'd say that's interesting enough. Then we get footage from either it was Friday or sometime over the weekend with The Rock on Jimmy Fallon. And then WWE promoting a couple of Rock business stuff. It's his cover on either it's GQ or it's Time or whatever. And then The Rock's upcoming Christmas movie, Red One, which is... I really want to see that. And also, with The Rock being so heavily promoted, makes you think he's coming back sooner rather than later. Then we see the Street Profits in the back. They're talking to one another. Saying, with B-Fab saying, look, I may have fallen short, but you guys got this for the tag team titles. So then Profits walk off. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven walk in, with Green saying, oh, look at you. So cute. Now, obviously not everyone's championship material, but when we become the champions, we'll let you hold the title for a minute. Then B-Fab reveals, it's clear you know that this only one person can hold that title, right? Then in comes who I'm going to call the innovator of violence, Mia Yim. She's dressed head to toe in like camel gear. She's got a kendo stick behind her back. She looks so awesome, honestly. She walks up to him. She says, I clearly don't need a tournament to start a fight. So then that runs off. That runs off Green and Niven. I know I may be in the minority, but I think Mia Yim would be perfect for the first U.S. women's title holder. Then we see something interesting backstage. It's different part of backstage. It's Sami Zayn talking to L.A. Knight. Now, wouldn't that be a dynamic? You clearly see L.A. Knight go, So, he walks up. He grabs a microphone for a promo in the ring, saying, I've been on the world, and everyone's been looking for the U.S. title. I'm still your United States champion. And that obviously caught eyes with Sami Zayn as he asked me to join his War Games team. Clearly, that is not my fight. I am clearly fine with the bloodline imploding. So we move forward. This is clearly not the Logan Paul show anymore, which that gets a nice reaction. A lot of boos. So instead, I'm going to continue the LA Knight United States Open Challenge. And who comes out? Santos Escobar and the rest of Legado del Fantasma. Santos takes the microphone. He says, "Let me tell you something. Why can't you just say something cool? I'm tired of hearing you speak. It's time to shut you up." And while Elektra Lopez is going for the Women's United States title, I was thinking, why not bring the United States title to Legado del Fantasma? LA Knight gets back on the microphone, says, "I appreciate your ambition, but I feel this goof staring a hole at me," pointing at Humberto Carrillo. Turns back to Santos. "As for you, been there, done that. But this guy, he gets 3 the hard way. I'm going to give you the opportunity of a lifetime." And as LA Knight's taking off his, t-shirt, putting the title down, Humberto Carrillo attacks Knight before the bell rings. So we get the open challenge. It's LA Knight versus Humberto Carrillo, which honestly was a really surprising matchup. They worked really, really well, with Humberto showing his stuff out there. A lot of really good back and forth, with eventually LA Knight hitting the BFT to pick up the win. But the excitement doesn't stop there, because post-match, who finally makes his return? It's Shinsuke Nakamura, and he attacks LA Knight post-match. Now, this isn't just like normal Nakamura. It looks like he's got like a samurai outfit on. He's got a little face paint going. His hair's all greasy, and it looks like he's... And I know I'm going to trigger some people with this. It looks like he's broken. In which, that might not be a bad gimmick. Like the broken samurai gimmick. I could get behind this. Is he going to win the U.S. title? Probably not. Is that going to be a hell of a matchup? Absolutely. So then, cutting back, we see the Usos. They're kind of standing around outside Roman Reigns' locker room, saying, "We're in trouble. We need a 5th man. We don't got a 5th man." Sami Zayn then runs up, says, "We gonna talk to Roman or what?" And then they all open the door and enter Roman Reigns' locker room. So this is getting interesting. We're gonna see something with this in a little bit. Then we get a hype video for the Royal Rumble, in which I can't wait for that. That's my favorite pay-per-view out of the year. So then we see Usos, Sami Zayn. They're kind of standing behind a folding chair. Or maybe it was an office chair. They're saying, "It's not looking good. We need a 5th man, blah, blah, blah." Roman Reigns walks in. Walks past everyone. Sits down in the chair. Then I believe it was Jimmy who says, "Who's going to tell him?" So Sami Zayn kind of comes around to his side, says, "We've all asked around on Raw and SmackDown. There's no one who wants to work with us. Roman, you got to make that call." So then, on the TV screen, also in the arena, we see the Bloodline, the New Blood, making their entrance. And this leads to a Solo Sikoa promo, in which he gets out a couple words. Name a town, I forget where they're at. Acknowledge me. So then we see the OGs leave the locker room. They enter the arena to Roman Reigns music, like it's old times. They saunter down to the ring. get up on the apron. Both sides are hyped. Both sides are ready for a fight. And they just freaking brawl. This was a great old brawl between all of them. Jacob Fatu takes out a couple guys. Gets back in the ring. It's just him and Roman. They're staring daggers at one another. Then you hear the crowd kind of go silent a little bit. Because who attacks Roman Reigns from behind? It's big old Bronson Reed. And they just absolutely attack Roman. Usos and Sami Zayn try to get in here, but it's way too much. New Bloodline get in. Jacob Fatu hits Roman with a moonsault. Bronson Reed with a tsunami, in which you see the most defeated look on Roman Reigns' face after the tsunami hits. He's like, it looked like he got shot. Eventually, Roman tries to fight him off. Hits a couple of Superman punches to the other members of the New Blood. Solo sneaks in, hits a Samoan spike. Another moonsault by Jacob Fatu. Tsunami by Bronson Reed. Then the officials come out. They break it up. New Blood are walking up the ramp. Then you see a shot. You see Roman Reigns. He's kind of sitting up. He's holding himself. Then Jey Uso, who's kind of like on his side, is telling Roman, you got to make that call. You got to make the call, Uso. In which, I don't know what call they're going to make, but I have my guesses. It's either going to be Seth, it's going to be Paul Heyman, or maybe it's going to be CM Punk. I do not know yet. But yeah, that segment was everything I needed it to be. And honestly, Bronson Reed is such a good fit for the New Blood. Now, is it going to be a long-term thing that continues after War Games? I doubt it. But, yeah, we'll see. Then we see a Kevin Owens in the car video recording promo, which I absolutely love these. These make this show feel a little bit more lively than just another backstage interview. So, Owens said, I was turned away from the arena last night because last week I did my job. I'm in trouble because I put Orton on the shelf, but I just got a call from Nick Aldis. I'm invited to SmackDown next week on request of Cody Rhodes. He then kind of snaps, so I don't really have notes on that. But then Kevin Owens calms down. He continues, I'll be there next week. But not for Cody, not for Aldis, not for the WWE Universe, but for me. When I show up next week, I'm doing what you want. I'm just doing my job. Oh, this side of Kevin Owens is so good. I can't wait to see what he does. Next up, we got the WWE Tag Team titles on the line as the Street Profits challenge Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley of the Motor City Machine Guns. It is just still so cool to see the guns in WWE. And this match was awesome. Both sides threw out their big guns. They looked like they hated each other, and it just worked. However, at one point, Dawkins and Ford had Shelley up for the Doomsday device, but in comes Ciampa, who just attacks everyone, so that's a disqualification. Gargano then comes in, He's trying to play peacemaker between everybody. He gets in Ciampa's face for a little bit, and Ciampa just pushes him away. Oh. Gargano and Ciampa then leave together. The Guns then help the Street Profits up. It looks like they have an understanding, but then Ford and Dawkins just clack the Guns right in the mouth. They then leave. So, yeah, well, couple of interesting heel turns for the tag division. See what happens there. We then see Naomi. She's getting ready in the back. In comes Bayley, who says, I am so excited to see you win this tonight. But before we get too excited, this is actually Naomi. You need to look out for Io. We still have beef with her. Then in walks Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, with Jade actually taking the lead this time, saying, trust? Nah, it's not about us. It's about Naomi. Despite what has happened, we always got your back. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that little matchup. As now it's time for our wrestling match main event, as it's for the WWE Women's title, as it's Naomi taking on Nia Jax. And at first, Nia Jax does dominate for a little bit, but Naomi gets her second wind and just really takes it to Nia Jax for a little bit, including a counter out of a powerbomb off the top, in which she kind of hit, either it was a Rana or it was something else, but it looked a little brutal. Naomi with the rear view, that only gets a 2. Pop-up Samoan drop. Nia going for the Annihilator, that gets countered. Naomi with a crossbody. Both of them are down. Then we see a little footage backstage as Jade and Bianca have been laid out, and it's revealed to be Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. So then we get back to the action as Tiffany Stratton attacks Naomi with the briefcase, with Nia Jax distracting the ref. Naomi gets back in, eats a leg drop. Nia goes for the Annihilator again. Naomi is up. Tiffany Stratton's back on the apron. Naomi knocks her down. Then Bayley starts a brawl with Tiffany Stratton. Naomi with a roll-up, only for a 2. Naomi with a split-legged moonsault, only for a 2. Then Candice LeRae comes out. She brawls with Bayley. Nia Jax with a Samoan drop off the middle rope. Hits the Annihilator to pick up the victory. So, Nia's still champion. Was there a lot of shenanigans in this match? Absolutely. But I enjoyed it for what it was. So then we cut to backstage. It's Roman Reigns. He's sitting alone in the OG Bloodline locker room. He picks up his phone. He tells whatever the AI is, call the wise man. And it plays the number not available noise, in which I think we've heard more than a couple of times. Roman Reigns drops his phone to the floor and just kind of sulks. Roman is at the end of his rope, and we'll see if he uses it for War Games, because this is getting interesting. Also, if you don't know who the Wise Man is, it's Paul Heyman. He was kind of the first member of the Bloodline before it really got started. He was the manager to Roman, which that feels like a millennium ago. So, definitely an eventful episode of SmackDown. I'm happy there's so many titles on the line, because it makes them feel a little special. We'll see where all this leads, because we got War Games coming up. We then move to AEW Rampage. So we got our opening matchup of Layla Gray taking on Hikaru Shida. And it looked like this was going to be a simple squash match. But Layla Gray did get some stuff in before eventually... actually, Shida goes for the katana. That gets blocked by Gray into a roll-up for 2. Then Shida picks up the win with the Falcon Arrow. Gray definitely has some work to do, but she feels like she belongs in the women's division. Speaking of belonging in the women's division, we then cut to backstage for a Harley Cameron interview, because why not? With her saying, Mina has nothing. Yes, you are charismatic, but can you do this? She then pulls out a guitar, starts playing it, tries singing like some parody song that I've never heard of, but then Renee stops her. She's like, oh, okay, we're out of time. We don't have time to continue this. Then Harley tries to get her catchphrase in, which is Feel the Wrath of Harley, but it doesn't go all the way through, and it cuts to the next match. Harley Cameron has found her niche in AEW, and I love it for her. Good for her. As we cut to our next matchup of Rampage, baby, as it's Mark Briscoe taking on Arya Daivari. And while I did think this was just going to be a normal squash match, I forget how good Arya Daivari is, and he just proved it here. Went toe-to-toe with the former Ring of Honor champion. Although at points we did see Mark Sterling come up on the apron to distract the referee. But Rocky Romero takes care of him. Mark Briscoe winning with the Froggy Bow. And that was honestly a really, really fun matchup. Very underrated little match. And then we get Rocky Romero taking on Commander. And good lord, this was hard to keep up with. Like, these two are pretty much luchadors incarnate. I mean, Commander is actually a luchador, but Rocky Romero, he kept up and then some. Like, this was a nice, fun little matchup with Rocky Romero going for a sliced bread, but it wasn't off the, ring post. It was just right in the middle of the ring. That was impressive. Only for a 2 count. Commander with a power slam right into the turnbuckles. Then he goes up, does his rope walk shooting star press to pick up the win. Tony Khan, please push Commander. He is so good. I'm not saying he should be AEW champion, but you need to do something with this kid, because he's too good to just be on Rampage. Next up, we got a backstage Energy interview saying, tomorrow it's going to be worth the risk. With no rules, I'm capable of anything. Then walks in Taya Valkyrie, who says, in case you want a little insurance, we take cash. And then Anna Jay looks like she's in a fighting mood, kind of held back a little bit. I don't need you, Taya. Taya then says, suit yourself, and walks off. So, we kind of got a little rivalry within a rivalry, which is interesting. Then we get this interesting little tag team match, as it's LFI being represented by Rush and the Beast Mortos, taking on Richard Holiday which I haven't seen him wrestle in years, and Alec Price. Richard Holiday spent his time in MLW, was really good with it. Yeah, glad to see him up a level. Price I do know a little bit of. I have seen his work in other promotions. He is also very, very good. But this was an LFI squash match as I've ever seen it. This was a beatdown. With the finish coming with the bullhorns by Roosh. So your winners, LFI. So I hope they do something with LFI soon. They're too good to just be, at their level. We then go backstage for an interview with MVP, saying, absolutely, I've been here seeing so many talent with untapped potential. Now some need to be beaten down, and we're going to teach them to stand up for themselves. Swerve has so much potential. He thinks one man can beat three. And as they say, arrogance comes before the fall. And obviously I'll be watching Ricochet tonight. But tomorrow, Shelton Benjamin shows Commander what he's made of. We then get a nice video promo for the main event of Collision, which is going to be Anna Jay versus Mariah May. And then we get to our main event, which is a crazy one, and a match I didn't even think would be possible, as Ricochet takes on Dante Martin of Top Flight. And it lived up to the hype. Like, these two pretty much went full speed right off the bat. Really, really interesting back and forth. Dante Martin blocking a Vertigo. Hitting a brainbuster into a shooting star, only for a 2. Ricochet then counters with a super kick, a blue thunder bomb, only for a 2. Goes for the Vertigo again, only gets blocked into a roll-up, only for a 2. Then Ricochet with a suplex and his version of the Hidden Blade, which I forget what he calls it. It's something really specific to him, but he picks up the win with it. I hope Ricochet is in the Continental Classic this year. I think he would be perfect for it. And the match was awesome. If you really like, high speed stuff, this is your ticket in. And honestly, if you're not watching Rampage, or at least checking it out, why not? It's an entertaining little show. And then that takes us to AEW Collision. I'm sorry it's been a while since I've covered this, but here we are again. We start off with Mina Shirakawa taking on Harley Cameron. And Harley, I think this is the best match Harley Cameron has ever had. Opponent is no joke. Couple of times Mina Shirakawa goes for the glamorous driver, only for Cameron to get out of it. Eventually, Mina gets the back fists, hits the glamorous driver to pick up the win. That was such a great, fun little opener. Hopefully we see more matches from these two in the near future, because they work really good together. Then we see in the parking lot, Jack Perry arrives. He's in his bus, and he's heading for the arena for this next matchup. Daniel Garcia takes on Johnny TV. Now, if you don't know who Johnny TV is, he's Johnny Morrison from WWE, who's the guy who, when he does his entrance, it goes in slow-mo. And he is, in fact, being seconded by the MXM Collective. So that's Mansoor and Massey. And yeah, again, this match was a little bit uneven to start off, but eventually both these guys caught their stride with Johnny whiffing on the Starship Pain. Actually, before that happens, MXM Collective does get involved with the match, but Garcia fights back, with eventually Jack Perry coming down, taking out Matt Menard, who is on commentary, and then picks him up, drags him outside. And then Garcia winning with the Cobra Clutch, which I know it's not the most sparkling a move to finish with, but it fits his character really, really well. And as Garcia's celebrating with the crowd, he looks over, sees the seat empty, notices Matt Menard is missing, goes over to Tony Schiavone, demanding to know where he is, saying Perry took him. Then they just show it on the Tron, which show Jack Perry outside on the Tron, beating down Menard. Garcia sprints to go help, and Jack Perry does something really wild. He gets a chain with like a hook, so it's like helping drag stuff. I don't know. And then he starts to hook up Menard to the bus. He's about to get into the driver's seat, but Daniel Garcia stops it before anything can happen. He unhooks Menard. They beat him down for a little bit. Then Menard goes to the camera and just interrupts the feed. So, yeah, I'm glad nobody was murdered. But, yeah, we're going to see that back a little bit. Then we get a nice little video promo from Lio Rush, pretty much saying, you know, even though I lost a couple weeks ago, I still got my eye on the prize and my eyes on gold. So we get a clear path for Lio Rush. Not exactly sure where this is going to go. Speaking of not sure where this is going to go, we then cut back to Daniel Garcia. He's sitting in the driver's seat of the Scapegoat bus, and he has Jack Perry tied to the front of it. And then he and Matt Menard just start driving around the outside of the arena. So, yeah, that was kind of a crazy moment. Yeah, we'll see what happens at Full Gear, because that's going to be wild. Speaking of wild, we're getting into our next match as Shelton Benjamin takes on Commander. And this was a lot of fun. I'm talking a lot of fun. Shelton Benjamin feels like he hasn't aged a day. He can still go really, really well in the ring. And not only did he keep up with Commander, he pretty much grounded him. Commander at one point goes for his shooting star, whiffs, eats a couple of suplexes, super kick, and a power slam for Shelton Benjamin to pick up the win. Of course, MVP is ringside, points at Commander, with Benjamin trying to take Commander's mask off. Now, if you don't know, in Lucha culture, mask is a sacred thing. You don't take it off for anything. And if you have it removed from yourself, it's seen as a disgrace. Which is why the mask versus mask stipulation is so big in Mexico. Anyway, so Commander's manager, Alex Abrahantes, gets in to try and help. But MVP takes him out, which, man, it's been a while since I've seen MVP wrestle. Would like to see him get in the ring at least one more time. Then we get a recap of the Mercedes Moné Chris Statlander situation, which, yeah, it's getting heated. We then get a Chris Statlander interview backstage saying that Camille and Moné tried anything and everything to take me out. They do anything to win, and everything she's tried has failed. And at Full Gear, I'm becoming the new champion. Then in comes, while she's clapping, Hikaru Shida, who says, "Good luck with the match at Full Gear. It's about time someone beats Moné, and I'd like to be your first challenger." Then Statlander grabs her hand, shakes it, and says, "I'm always open for a challenge. So why don't we do this Wednesday on Dynamite?" So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting little matchup. We'll see where it goes. Then we get back from a commercial break to an interview with the Acclaimed, with Max taking the lead a little bit, saying where the head's at. Today we're feeling confident. We know Billy's going to be here. We're one win away from Full Gear. And when we win the titles there, we're going to celebrate. Because everyone, and before Bowens can continue, in walks MVP, who says, "I just want to wish you luck tonight. Tonight we handled our business. You go handle yours." So it's kind of looking like maybe both the Acclaimed are going to be in MVP's new group. I'm not sure. Anyway, we go into our next matchup as it's Powerhouse Hobbs making his in-ring return against Bulk Bronson of the Iron Savages. And honestly, this was pretty much a hoss fight to begin with. Some good back and forth. Eventually, Powerhouse Hobbs overpowers Bronson with a bunch of clotheslines. Then this brings Jax Jameson, who is their manager, up on the apron. Powerhouse Hobbs kind of pushes him off. Then from behind, Boulder comes into the ring. Looks like he's going to attack Hobbs. He eats a spine buster. Then he picks up Bronson with a backbreaker to pick up the win. I do like good little squash matches like these. Hopefully we're going to see something out of Hobbs soon. Because he is too damn good to just be another guy on the roster. Next, we have an interview with the Undisputed Kingdom, where Roderick Strong takes the lead. He says, "Thank you. Max, you have 7 days, and you're going to hear what I have to say fully on Wednesday. But here, I'm going to say, you don't realize what you're in for, and then after Full Gear ends, you'll know that I'm better than you, and you know it." Oh, those are fighting words, if I've ever heard them. That's going to be a heck of a match. Then coming into this last match of the evening, at least I think it's the last match. Yeah, it's the last match of the evening, and it's for the last spot in the Full Gear 4-way for the tag team titles. And it's Private Party, who are our champions, take their front row seats up on the ramp, as it's LFI being represented by Roosh and the Beast Mortis take on the Acclaimed. That's Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. Caster does his little rap to the ring, including mentioning Kamala Harris, which got a pretty decent reaction from the crowd. This match was very, very interesting. You definitely see maybe the Acclaimed aren't so much on the same page as they would be even though they have Billy Gunn down there, looks like they're taking a beating for a while. Eventually, Max Caster does his thing. He gets out of it. Mortis whiffs on a cannonball. Tags in Bowens. Bowens hits the Arrival. Caster with the mic drop to pick up the win for the Acclaimed. And this brings down Private Party from their seats. And they kind of join each other on the ramp. So, yeah, that was a nice, fun little main event. We'll see where we... Oh, no, this isn't the main event. Apologize. But, yeah, that four-way is going to be interesting. As it's Private Party, the Outrunners, who are the most popular anything right now in any AEW, Brody King and Malachi Black of House of Black, and now the Acclaimed. So this is going to be interesting. Speaking of interesting, we then go backstage for a Mina Shirakawa interview, saying, "So happy to be back. I'm so happy to see Mariah's next matchup." Then we get the kind of the weirdest part of the night, as we see the MXM collection kind of posing with some merchandise, and I'm thinking, what is going on here? It's not a full vignette, but it's an advertisement for AEW Shop, which that was honestly hilarious. That got me really good. We then get the official graphic for this year's Continental Classic. We don't know the entrance yet, but I got a feeling we're going to see either this coming week or the following week after Full Gear. Then we get a promo interview from the Conglomeration, starting with Ishii, who is just stone-faced. He ain't talking to anybody. So, Mark Briscoe offers to translate, saying, "Jericho, your days as Ring of Honor champion are numbered. You're going to learn yourself a lesson in humility." Then Rocky Romero chimes in, pretty much saying, "Yeah, I'm feeling the energy here from you guys. But I gotta ask, what's the word of the day?" Then Mark Briscoe goes on a bit of a tirade, gives us multiple words of the day. The main one I heard was tenacity. Then he continues, "Jericho, the ROH title is coming back to us, to the Conglomeration." So we got kind of a combination of Conglomeration Mark Briscoe, who's a little less serious, but comes up with the word of the day stuff. But then you kind of also got killer, original Ring of Honor champion Mark Briscoe, who's willing to pretty much eat your face to win. So it's definitely a bit of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing going on. We then get a rundown of the Full Gear card, which I am very excited for. We then go backstage to an interview with FTR, the former tag team champions, with Dex starting out saying, "I wish I had an answer for you. It just wasn't one bad night. We haven't gotten our titles back, but we need to go out and reevaluate." Then Cash Wheeler chimes in saying, "We could just sit around crying about it, or we could rebuild, and that's exactly what we're going to do. But it's not our time anymore. It's the Outrunners' time. And then after Full Gear, maybe we face these men," which it turns into a Outrunners vignette showing their path to Full Gear, which I kind of hope they win. Like, seeing the Outrunners with the titles would be ridiculous, but it would work. It would be so hype. We then get to our main event match of the evening, as it's for the AEW Women's title, and it's no disqualification, as Mariah May defends against Anna Jay. And they go just right into it. Get all the plunder they can, including I think it was Mariah May taking one of the low TVs from the announce table and throwing it at Anna Jay. Then Anna Jay brings out a ladder, sets up in the corner. No, actually, it was May who sets it up. Anna Jay with the Queen Slayer, but then Mariah May backs them both into the ladder in the corner. Mariah May attempts a Storm Zero, that gets blocked, and then a gory special into the ladder, which only gets a 2. Anna Jay then gets in the table, gets it in the ring, sets it up, but kind of like sets it up with one end closed, the other open, so it's like a ramp. I thought she was going to like run up it and do something. She tries to superplex May into the table, but that gets blocked. Then Mariah May with a sick powerbomb through the table. That only gets 2. The Mariah May gets like an extra like barricade rail from, the outside. She then sets up a couple of chairs, kind of right in the corner. She tries to set the rail between them, but she's having trouble. Anna Jay with a backstabber sets Mariah May on the rail. She goes up to the top rope, but Anna Jay gets up, hits a couple of strikes, superplex onto the rail, which that was wild. Anna Jay then gets, after a little while of selling, gets up, goes to the outside, gets like a piece of barbed wire. Not a board, just a piece. She wraps it around her arm, then gets a Queen Slayer in with the barbed wire on her arm, which that looked brutal. Then Mariah May somehow gets a can of hairspray, sprays it in the face of Anna Jay. It's a Storm Zero for the win. And honestly, this was absolutely awesome. If you watch one wrestling match this week, I cannot recommend that one enough. Post-match, you have Mina Shirakawa out, and she celebrates with Mariah May. Then one more kick from Mariah May to Anna Jay. And then we get a champagne celebration announced with Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa announced for Full Gear. No doubt we're going to have a return for that. Perhaps a timeless one. So that was our main event match. We then go to the car park, it looked like, for a promo from Jon Moxley. With him saying, when I broke Taylor's neck, it could go one way. Go one of two ways. He fights out of it, or I'd get the Cassidy I want. He acts so sad that Wheeler is coming down this path. But Cassidy is nothing more than a snake. The true test will be on Wednesday, and we'll see if he can strike with venom or keep it clean against someone he considered a friend. I wish I was that cold-blooded, but I feel everything. What AEW could be. And if you don't like the way I do things, take me out at Full Gear. Then you'll see how it feels to be stuck at the top alone. Want to ride with me? We ride every day. If not, get out or you'll be taken out. So, kind of par for the course promo from Jon Moxley, but the point did get across. We are going to see from that. So then we finish up Collision with something very, very interesting and something you don't really see from AEW too much. A Full Gear hype video with, I forget the name of the song, but it's a song from Guns N' Roses, in which, if you haven't seen this video, check it out. It's super good. So, yeah, that's how we end This Week in Wrestling. I hope you guys enjoyed. Come back to me on Friday, where we are going to cover Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. And then next week, I believe it's next week, either it's next week or the week after, gonna be doing my predictions for Survivor Series. So, should be a fun one. Hope you guys stick with me through then. And actually, it's almost time for the end of year awards, which I'll get to you near the end of the year. Probably going to be like first couple weeks of December. So, hope you guys stick with me through that. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.